a bunch of Chinese folk?
Why are you at the bottom?
I'm saying, why are our people at the bottom?
I don't know why.
But we do everything the best. You watch any sports system, you know who LeBron James is. Is LeBron James on the bench? Nah, why? Because he's the best, right? So should the best people be in the highest, be at the top? The best is always going to be at the top, right? So if we're the best people, why are we at the bottom? That don't make any sense, right? The Lord said this about the Israel.
This is the book of 1 Peter, verse 2, chapter 2 and verse 9.
Bring it out!
For ye are a chosen generation.
What's this, sister?
For ye are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, and holy nation.
What?
A holy nation.
It means to be set apart. We're a holy nation, so we're supposed to be set apart from everybody else, right? Read on.
A peculiar people,
Right.
that ye should shoot forth the praises of him who hath called you out of darkness into his marvelous light.
So understand, sister, that you would be a holy people, right? Set apart from everybody else, right? You would come from the 12 tribes of Israel who God chose to be his people. And these last, well, not in these last days in general, right? But we have to understand, because of there's a reason why we don't know who we are, why we call ourselves Black, Hispanic, and Native American people, right? Because of disobedience. Do you have any children? You have any children? Now, if you had a son or daughter and you told them to do something and have it done by the time you get home and it's not done, then you're gonna do what? You're gonna discipline them to some degree. Whether you ground them, they can't go outside, you take away their phone. You gotta understand, because God chose us to be his people, right? If we're God's children and we don't do what he told us to do, guess what he's gonna do? The same thing a parent does with their children. He's gonna discipline them. Let me get Amos 3:1, right? He's gonna discipline his people. So we got to understand that the reason we go through the things that we go through is because of disobedience to the Most High God, who is our Father at the end of the day, right? Let me get Deuteronomy 28 and 45, right? Let me get this in Amos 3:1.
I think without any order, it'll always be a separation. You have to have some. You're the only one talking, but everybody else is listening. Their order to doing certain things goes forth. Because you have time. Any meditation is going to precede something.
Who are you talking about? Like, what people? What people?
What I notice is, like, sometimes people do work and they don't get credit for the work they do. So how do you move forward with a stagnation? Hold on, with a stagnation, non-mission to the truth.
Who are you talking about?
Before you walk into any Israelite or any light, you have to face the truth and walk in that.
Well, hold on, sister. What's the truth?
Tell the truth and walk in that.
But what is the truth?
Because I mean, you could be walking, but you ain't riding with the truth.
Sister, what is the truth?
I don't know. I just told you. Stay up.
Real quick, sister. Listen to this verse. This is all what I'm saying.
Let me tell you,
sister.
like, I'm about time, so I count up all of your 12 tribes. And I go make that paper to, because I got to eat now. You know what I'm saying? And people, listen, let me tell you, they'll have you on the corner talking all the work and don't pay you a motherfucking attention, don't give you a dime, and make sure you back in that same spot.
I got you, sister.
In the same circle, doing the same thing. No, my grounds, my voice, my ass, my money, the niggas that talk about me, I got to get paid for that shit, man. Fuck the bullshit and live in this heaven that's on this earth. It's a heaven when you pass that book. It's a heaven when you want to get high. It's a heaven when you want to be validated and all that shit.
Sister, we got you.
But at the end of the day, hey, I'm starving. I'm outside in the cold. I'm gonna see you later.
Hey, sister, can you take a fry, sister?
No, because I gotta turn to a brother in order for me to be somebody.
That's not true.
This is the book of John, chapter 4 and 14.
You know.
But whosoever drinketh of the water that I shall give him shall never thirst. But the water that I shall give him shall be in him, and will of water springing up into everlasting life.
That we need that water that's going to give us everlasting life. Man, she's talking about I gotta eat. Hey, listen, the Lord said to labor not for the meat which perishes, but for the meat that lasts to endures to everlasting life. Read that in John. John 6 and 27.
This is the book of John, chapter 6 and verse 27.
Right.
Labor not for the meat which perishes.
What did the Lord say?
Labor not for the meat which perishes, but for the meat which endureth unto everlasting life.
To what?
Unto everlasting life.
We labor for the meat that's going to do what? It's going to bring us everlasting life, which is this truth that the sister I was trying, you know, explain to the sister, but she not gonna understand it, man. Right? So, hey, listen, back to the lesson. Right? Where was I at? Let me get Sirach. Matter of fact, go back. Damn, I forgot what I was. You got precept? Yeah. Let me get that in John 20:21 for this. Okay, come on. Let me get this first. John 20 and verse number 29. Whoever gets it first, I see you got a precept too? Let me get this in John first. Y'all can get your precepts right after this, brother, for sure. Right, so brother, we gotta continue having faith, man. Just because we never seen it, don't mean it don't exist, man. Let me get Hebrews 11:1. Let me get these two precepts real quick. Let me get Hebrews 11:1. Somebody hold that. You can get this. Bring this down, John.
This is the book. This is the book of John, chapter 20 and verse 29.
Right.
Yahweh Shai.
I can start 26.
26.
Right.
And after 8 days, again his disciples were within, and Thomas with them. Then came Yahweh Shai, the doors being shut, and stood in the midst and said, peace be unto you.
What did he say?
Peace be unto you.
He said shalom. Read on.
Then said he to Thomas, reach hither thy finger and behold my hands,
right.
And reach hither thy hand and thrust it into my side.
Because a backstory, Thomas didn't believe that Christ rose from the dead. Right? Read on.
And be not faithless, but believing. And Thomas answered and said unto him, my Lord and my God. Verse 29, Yahweh Shai said unto him, Thomas, because thou hast seen me.
Because thou hast what?
Because thou hast seen me.
Now what?
Thou hast believed.
Right, so hey, Jake gotta see something just to believe it, man. Nobody would believe that happened if they didn't see it, man. Right? Read on.
Blessed are they that have not seen.
Blessed are what?
Blessed are they that have not seen.
What?
And yet have believed.
And what?
And yet have believed.
We're blessed because what we haven't seen, but yet we believe in these last days, man. The Lord said that the prophets got to be found faithful, right? Well, we're gonna get whole Sirach 15 and 14. You better do something.
And this is the book of St. Matthew, chapter 13 and verse 16.
Right.
For blessed are your eyes.
What?
For blessed are your eyes. For they see.
For they what?
For they see. And your ears, for they hear.
Right.
For verily I say unto you, that many prophets and righteous men have desired to see those things which ye see,
right.
And have not seen them,
right.
And to hear those things which ye hear, and have not heard them. Hear ye therefore the parable of the sower.
See that? So our forefathers and the prophets, they would have loved to see these days, man.
Right.
But they believed that them days was coming because they were prophesying about it and it was written. Right? Ahabi, you get your precept out.
I mean, no, you don't want it? Yeah. Oh, you dropped it?
Hold on. Come back to you. I got a precept.
Second Ezra chapter 1 and verse 35.
Yeah.
Your houses will I give to a people that shall come, which not having heard of me, yet shall believe me.
Yeah, what?
Yet shall believe me. To whom I have shewed no signs, yet they shall do that I have commanded them. They have seen no prophets, yet they shall call their sins to remembrance,
right.
And acknowledge them. I take to witness the grace of the people to come, whose little ones rejoice in gladness, and though they have not seen me with bodily eyes, yet in spirit they believe the thing that I say.
See that? That's a good precept. See that? So he's telling you, hey, listen, in them days, I'm going to raise up your children. They never seen no prophets. I'm going to raise up your children. They never been to the Holy Land yet. What? Guess what? They believe in the last days. And that's the generation that you see right now that's rising up. And we have faith in these last days, man. Right? What's going on, brother? Hey, brother. Hey, brother. Hey, brother. Hey, brother. Mi hermano. But aquí. Bring your precept out, okay?
Going back to the sister. This is Matthew chapter 4 verse 4.
Right.
But he answered and said, it is written.
It is what?
It is written. Man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds out of the mouth of God.
Right. See that? So we got all these things is what is written by the Most High God at the end of the day. So we got to believe on them things and live by those things because what? They're of the Most High God. Right? So if we come out here, we're doing the work, we can't, let me get, you got that Sirach 15? We can't be found faithless in these last days neither, man. Right? Read this in Sirach. 15 and 14.
This is the book of Sirach, chapter 15 and verse 14.
Right.
He himself made man from the beginning and left him in the hand of his counsel.
Right.
Verse 15, if thou wilt to keep the commandments and to perform acceptable faith, and to accept Salakia, and to perform acceptable faithfulness,
Right.
he hath set fire and water before thee, stretch forth thy hand unto whether thou wilt.
Right, so the Lord said, if you perform the commandments and the acceptable faith and the acceptable faithfulness, right? He said, hey, listen, water and fire stretch before you to whichever hand you stretch it to. Hey, listen, that will be it for you, right? Let me get Sirach 36 and go to verse number 12, right? So, hey, listen, the prophets, we gotta be found faithful in these last days as well. We can't just be out here doing anything and just doing the work in vain, right? You got it? Bring that out.
It's the book of Sirach, chapter 36, verse 12. O Lord, have mercy upon the people that is called by thy name,
Right.
and upon Israel, whom thou hast named thy firstborn.
Right.
Oh, be merciful unto Jerusalem, thy holy city, the place of thy rest.
You see that? That's all I want. Slocky, that's all I want. Let me get that wisdom. Let me get wisdom of Solomon 3 and go to verse 9. Right, since you already there too. Wisdom of Solomon 3 verse 9, right? Because we gotta have that faith that the Lord is going to have mercy on our people, but we have to what? That requires faith, man. Let me get that in First Maccabees 2:51. I never got to go back there, right? Let me get that.
It's the book of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 3, verse 9. They that put their trust in him shall understand the truth.
Right.
And such as be faithful in love,
And such as what?
and such shall be faithful in love,
Read.
shall abide with him.
Read on.
For grace and mercy.
For what?
For grace and mercy
To what?
is to his saints.
To his who?
Is to his saints. To his who? Is to his saints.
Right, so it's saying we know we're the saints of the Most High God, man. First Maccabees 2:51, right? We're the saints of the Most High God, right? So we gotta have these faith in these last days that the Lord's gonna have that grace and mercy on us, man. Right? Let me get Hebrews 11 and go to verse number 1, right? Because we understand we already read in Hebrews 11 and 6. Hey, listen, you don't got faith in the Most High God. Guess what? It don't mean nothing. Right, so we got to understand that you got to have that faith, the same way we was reading earlier in John 20 and 29 and Mark 8 and 11, right? Hey, listen, there's going to be no sign given to our people in these last days, right? So we got to go based off of faith, because just because we haven't seen it don't mean you got to believe, right?
It's the book of Hebrews, chapter 11 and verse 1.
Right.
Now faith.
Now what?
Now faith
what?
is the substance of things hoped for, and the evidence of things not seen.
Now what?
The evidence of things not seen.
We haven't seen none of these things, man. Right, and the Lord said there would be no sign, but guess what? The same thing that the brother wrote and that the brother brought out in 2nd Esdras, and guess what? You're going to have these faith, because we're going to be risen up, and it's going to be natural. It's going to be natural faith in us. That's why you see the Lord raising up a great army, man. Right, so we have those faith in these last days. Hey, listen, faith is from the beginning, man. Right, you read about that. Let me get that in First Maccabees, right, 2:51.
This First Maccabees 2:51.
Right now.
Call to remembrance what acts our fathers did.
What
acts our fathers did
Right.
in their time.
Right.
So shall you receive great honor in an everlasting name.
Read on.
Was not Abraham found faithful in temptation, and it was imputed unto him for righteousness?
For what?
For righteousness.
And listen, Abraham, our forefather, guess what? He had that faith, right? And it was imputed him as righteousness, man. So when you had hey, shalom, brother, shalom. So when you have that faith, let me get Matthew 17. You can drop that. Let me get Matthew 17 and go to verse number 20, right? When you have that faith, hey, listen, the Lord's gonna come through for you, man, right? Because why you're showing your faith, again, like we said, by our works, man. You're not gonna plant a tree. You're not gonna plant a seed that's supposed to be a tree, and guess what? You just praying that's gonna happen. That's like we said. That's like Christianity, right? You just praying that it just sprout. No, you're gonna do what? You gonna get in there. You gonna water it. Hey, brother. Real quick. Let me holler at you real quick, brother. You see yourself on the shirt? What's your nationality, King? Real quick, brother. We your brothers, brother. Come on, bro. Come on, brother. We here for you, bro. We here for you, brother.
Get over here, brother.
Come on, brother. Yeah, it's too cold. What's it called? Let me get this in Matthew 21.
This is the book of Matthew, chapter 21, verse 21.
Right.
Yahushua answered and said unto them, verily I say unto you.
What did the Lord say?
Verily I say unto you, if you have faith,
If you have what?
if you have faith, and doubt not, ye shall not only do this which is done to the fig tree, but also if ye shall say unto this mountain, be thou removed, and be thou.
Hey, sister. You can drop that. So the Lord said you gotta have faith and be what? Not doubtless, man. Right? If you got doubt, then the Lord looking at you like, what's up with this guy, man? Right? You gotta have faith in these last days, because again, that's what's going to justify you. Go ahead, bring it out there.
This Ecclesiasticus chapter 1, in verse.
Shalom. Hey, shalom.
It's Sirach chapter 1 and 14. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. And it was created with the faith.
With the what?
With the faith in the womb.
In the what?
In the womb.
That was Sirach 1 and 14. Yeah, come. So that faith that we said earlier, right? We was brothers naturally born with that faith, man.
Right.
The ones that's really gonna rise up and be with the Most High God. Right. We had that faith from the womb. Right. Let me get Sirach 36 and 15. That's what I wanted earlier. Right. Sirach 36 and verse number 15. Because we can't come out here and just do the work and we don't have no faith in these last days, man. Right, you don't have no faith. That's why, like I said, you're not gonna make it. Let me get Revelation 14 and 12. Bring it outside right.
It's Sirach 36 and 15. Give testimony unto those that thou hast possessed from the beginning.
From the what?
From the beginning. And raise up prophets that have been in thy name. Reward them that wait for thee, and let thy prophets be found faithful.
Be found what?
Be found faithful.
Let the prophets be found faithful in these last days, man. Right? We can't just be out here just for vain glory or just because we really don't believe. We gotta be found faithful when the Most High God returns. Right? That's why the Lord's. Let me get that in Revelation.
This is the book of Revelation, chapter 14 and verse 12. Here is the patience of the saints.
What did the Lord say?
Here is the patience of the saints. Here are they that keep the commandments of Yahweh.
Here are they.
Here are they that keep the commandments of Yahweh. And the faith.
And the what?
And the faith.
And the what?
And the faith of Yahweh. And I have heard a voice from heaven.
That was on that. I thought I said Yahweh Shai Mashiach. In the faith in Yahweh Shai, man. Right, so we got to come out here. You got to put in the work. You got to have the faith in these last days. Right, and that's how we're going to be justified through the Spirit of the Most High God. Right, because when the Lord comes back, hey, listen, we already know He's going to do a lot of killing on the earth. Right, but we got to be those brothers that don't retract. We got to have that faith. Let me get 2nd Ezra 2 and go to verse number 13. Let me get 2nd Ezra 15 and start at verse number 3. Right, we want to be out here. We want to have faith. We want to be the faithful group, man. Right, every time you get down on your knees, hey, listen, I always pray that brothers, the Lord give every brother a boost of faith in these last days, and you can never have too much faith. Right? If any, Shalom, okay, how you feeling? No, you good, brother? How you feeling? Good to see you, brother. Hey, brothers need that boost of faith in these last days, man. Right? We can't just be out here just hoping we got faith. No, you gotta have that faith. You gotta be sure. Faith and hope literally go together. Right? Bring this out.
The 2nd Ezra, chapter 2, and verse 13.
Right now.
Go, and ye shall receive. Pray for a few days unto you, that they may be shortened. The kingdom is already prepared for you.
What did the Lord say?
The kingdom is already prepared for you.
The Lord said the kingdom is already prepared for us, right? For the nation of Israel. Now, what do we have to do?
What?
Do what?
Watch.
What did the Lord say?
Watch.
All we got to do is just watch, man, and have the faith in Hamashiach Yahweh Shai in these last days, right? Bring this out 2nd Ezra 15 and go to verse number 3.
This is the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 15 and verse number 3. Fear not the imaginations against thee. Let not the incredulity of them trouble thee, that speak against thee. That speak against thee. For all the unfaithful,
what did the Lord say?
All the unfaithful shall die. And die in their unfaithful.
Shall what?
Shall die in their unfaithful.
So you gotta have the faith, or else what? You gonna die in your unfaithfulness because you didn't believe from the beginning, right? You gotta be like Paul. Let me get that 2 Timothy 4 and go to verse number 6. You gotta be like Paul, man, right? Paul already had the faith from the jump, right? Once he ran to Christ and Christ kind of struck him down, he did his thing. And listen, Paul had that faith, right? And we gotta be like him in the last days, man. We gotta have this faith. Let me get that.
The 2 Timothy 4 and verse number 6. For I am now ready to be offered, and the time of my departure is at hand. I have fought a good fight.
What did the Lord say?
I have fought a good fight.
What did brother say?
I have fought a good fight. I have finished my course. I have kept the faith.
I have what?
I have kept the faith.
What we gotta do?
I have kept the faith. Henceforth there is laid up for me a crown of righteousness.
A what?
A crown of righteousness, which the Lord, the righteous judge, shall give me at that day.
At that what?
At that day.
That's what everybody's fighting for, man. Let me get 1 Corinthians 9 and go to verse number 25. Let me get 2 Peter, go to 1 Peter 4 and go to verse number 1. Right? That's the crown that everybody's fighting for, man. Right? Let me get 2nd Ezra, I believe that's 2 and verse 47. With the crowns on their heads. Yeah, 2 and verse number 47. Start at 45. Right? That's what everybody's out here for, man. And that's what that faith is going to get you in them last days. Hey, Kadash, let me get Revelation 2 and let me get verse 10. Right? Bring this out.
1 Corinthians 9:25.
Yeah, 1 Corinthians 9:25.
This 1 Corinthians chapter 9:25.
Bring it out.
And every man that striveth for the mastery is temperate in all things.
Right?
Now they do it to obtain a corruptible crown.
A what?
A corruptible crown.
You know, brothers out there, they run in the Olympics, they try and get the gold medal, or they playing in the NFL and they try and get that trophy. That's a corruptible crown, right? But what?
But we ain't incorruptible.
And what?
But we ain't incorruptible. I, therefore, so run, not as a certainty, so fight I, not as one that beateth the air,
Right.
but I keep under my body and bring it into subjection.
Right, so we gotta understand that we fighting for that incorruptible crown in these last days that the Lord is gonna give us, right? Let me get that in 2nd Esdras 2:45.
It's the book of 2nd Esdras, chapter 2, verse 45. He answered and said unto me, these be they that have put off the mortal clothing, and put on the immortal,
And put on what?
and put on the immortal, and have confessed the name of God. Now are they crowned and receive palms. Then said I unto the angel, what young person is it that crowneth them, and giveth them palms in their hand?
And does what?
And giveth them palms in their hand.
Read.
So he answered and said unto me, it is the Son of God.
It is who?
It is the Son of God.
It is who?
It is the Son of God.
Read.
Whom they have confessed in the world. Then began I greatly to commend them that stood so stiffly for the name of the Lord.
That did what?
That stood so stiffly for the name of the Lord.
Hey brother, hey brother, hey brother, real quick, let me ask you a question, brother. What's your name? Adrian? Angel. Angel. Hey brother, you see yourself on the side, brother? What's your nationality? You call yourself a so-called black man, Jamaican, Latino, what's that? Latino, Dominican, Puerto Rican, Mexican. Now, do you know where that term came from? You know where it came from? Yeah, you can stop up to us, brother. We're not gonna hurt you, brother. We're your brother. That term was given to y'all by the Spaniards, right? That conquered that land. They when they came to the land, they found gold, they found rubies, they found diamonds, they found all types of riches. So they called it a rich port. When you put it in Spanish, literally just means a rich port. Now, a port is something that you can take a boat and you can dock the boat on. You can load it with goods. Now, are you a rich port? No, right? So why we calling ourselves the name that the white man gave you back in the 1500s, right? You believe in the Bible? You believe in God? Say you believe in God. Now, would you think God called anybody a Puerto Rican the same way they called me black? No, right? So what did the God in heaven call you? You said what? Well, what would be your? I'm talking about your nationality. Your nationality comes with.
There wasn't none.
You said what?
There wasn't no name. They didn't take me for a Rican.
Say that again.
I was human.
What?
Humans.
Now he created humans, right? But he gave every nation a different. He divided all the nations and gave them a name. Shalom. Charlotte. He gave all the nations an identity and a name, right? We don't have an 18 nation chart, do we? We created 18 nations of people, and he gave them all an identity, like a name, right? He didn't just call them humans, right? There's different nations, right? So the question is, if God made 18 nations of people, which one would you come from? See how y'all know, right? Well, brother, that's why we up here to show our people what nation they would come from, right? And that they would be God's chosen people, right? An Israelite, right? You ever heard of that, brother? The Israelites? The Hebrew Israelites now? All right, you can bring it out.
That's right, 17 and 17.
Right.
For in the division of the nations,
Right.
of the whole earth,
Right.
he set a ruler over every people.
So he made 18 different nations. It was all one people, and he divided them into different nations. Right, read on.
But Israel,
What? Who?
but Israel is the Lord's portion.
Right, so out of all the nations, let me get Leviticus 20 and 26. Out of all the nations, all the 18 nations, he took one nation and separated them from everybody else, called them a holy nation, and made them his people. Right? Now we're here to show you that you would come from that nation of people. Right? You would be an Israelite from the tribe of Ephraim. Right? The so-called Puerto Rican people. That would be your nationality. Right? Let me get Judges 12 and go to verse number 1. No, go to Joshua 17 and 17. Right? You would be an Israelite from the tribe of Ephraim. That would be your God-given nationality. Right? Now the scriptures always tell you that you got to prove all things, because we already know prior to calling you guys Puerto Ricans, which the Spaniards gave you, you call yourself Taino Indians. Right? We know the word Indian just means to be a savage. Now we're going to get into a little bit of history, because we understand how your people even got to that land in the first place. Because you understand that there's archaeological findings in Puerto Rico that's written in Paleo Hebrew. So prior to calling yourself Spaniard, prior to calling yourself Puerto Rican, you guys were speaking a different language. The same way black people, when we was conquered by the so-called British man and brought over here, what language they speaking? They were speaking English. So guess what language we speak? English. Now your people was conquered by Spaniards, so guess what language your people speak? Spanish, right? It all comes from the oppressor. You want to find, let me get Job 8 and 8 real quick, right? We got to understand where we come from, right? Because what's this, how's the saying go? If you don't know where, if you don't know where you come from, there you go, I forget it, right? But the point is, if you don't understand your past, then you're not going to understand who your people were and where you come from. All you're going to know is what they're feeding you. That's why they...
I would love to keep on hearing, but I gotta go back to work.
All right, brother, I'm gonna give you one scripture. Give me Deuteronomy 7:6. We're gonna give you one scripture, brother. We're gonna give you a flyer, Lord willing. The brother in the back. All right, brother got a flyer right here. All right.
I'll come see you when I'm not working.
All right, brother. Hey, the Lord willing, you gotta get up with them brothers, because some of us not from here, brother.
I would like to learn where I've been.
All right, brother. Hey, listen, I'm gonna show you one thing. I'm gonna show you one scripture. This is what the Lord said about you.
It's Deuteronomy chapter 7 and verse 6.
Right now.
For thou art a holy people.
What's this, brother?
For thou art a holy people.
Read.
Unto the Lord thy God.
Right.
The Lord thy God has chosen thee.
Yes, what?
Has chosen thee.
Cast them away.
Has chosen thee
What?
to be a special people unto himself.
Read.
Above all people.
Hey, spin it.
Above all people.
Puerto Rican.
Above all people
Read.
that are upon the face of the
So
earth.
the Lord said, you're a holy people, brother. You set apart. You're above all the nations, brother. Check out that YouTube, brother.
I will.
These brothers out here in New York.
Right.
All right, Ken, you an Israelite, brother.
Come on.
Hey, all praise to the Most High, man. Lord willing, that brother come into this thing, right? Let me get Jeremiah 51 and go to verse number 63. I get Sean read this right for me. Right, so brothers, guys, understand we gotta have. Let me get Psalm 131 and go to verse number 3. I'm gonna get this joint first. Brothers gotta have the faith in these last days. Come. So brothers gotta keep the faith in Yahweh B'Shem Mashiach Yahushua. Continue to do this work in these last days and continue to rise up the nation of Israel to our redemption, so we can get the hell up out of here, man. It's too cold out here, man. I don't like this place. Right, Psalm 131 and go to verse number 3.
This is Psalm 131 and verse number 3.
Right.
Let Israel hope in the Lord.
What did the Lord say?
Let Israel hope in the Lord from henceforth, from henceforth, and forever.
How long?
And forever.
Got hope in the Lord and have that faith in the Most High God from now and forever, man, till the Lord makes his return. Right? Let me get this in Jeremiah.
It's the book of Jeremiah, chapter 51 and verse 63.
Right.
And it shall be when thou hast made an end of reading this book, that thou shalt bind it, that thou shalt bind a stone to it, and cast it into the midst of Euphrates.
Right.
And thou shalt say, thus shall Babylon sink.
What did the Lord say?
Thus shall Babylon sink.
What's coming in this place?
Thus shall Babylon sink.
Read.
And shall not rise from the evil that I will bring upon her.
And with that, I'm going to close out giving a strong call. Hello to Yahweh. Ba'ashim Mashiach Wamalek Yahushua. Hey, Kwim Yashala. Kwim Yashala. Kwim Yashala. Kwim Yashala.